I don't know how this woman could survive with a .32 and drive a car. But anyway, the point is, that Rickard case is exactly right on point. That's exactly what our officers do. They're afraid she was going to get away. She was trying to get away. She was in her car, and they had trapped her, and then she was still trying to get away, and she was almost gone. She almost clipped an officer. And so somebody decided, I think I better stop her. And they did. That's what that Supreme Court case says is okay. So anyway, I haven't heard from plaintiff's lawyer since. I haven't heard nothing. So, it sometimes helps. Success breeds success. I got 5 minutes. Okay, it discourages lawsuits. If they know that they have to work, and you're going to be aggressive, and you're going to dig and dig and dig and dig, and you're going to find every conceivable bad fact about the plaintiff and the plaintiff's case, people are not going to sue. They realize, wait a minute, it's not easy money here. And as I say, in today's world, there are still lawyers, there are still plaintiff's lawyers that think that's what you do. You file the lawsuit, you sue the government, and then somebody magically turns up and says, here's a check. They really do think that, some of them. And so when all of a sudden they realize, oh my God, that guy can do all this 2 years later, and I'll be spending how many hours? It tends to discourage lawsuits and litigation, which is a very positive, constructive outcome. Number one, and this is true too. When I say reasonable, I'm being somewhat facetious there, but it absolutely encourages very, very, very large shrinkage in terms of a reality check for a plaintiff's lawyer. We had a very serious problem case several years ago. It's a horrible fact pattern, trust me. We won it at the trial court on a motion for summary judgment under governmental immunity. The Supreme Court then reversed. So, whatever, I didn't think that was the correct decision, but they reversed the decision of the trial court. And this was the death of a small boy. Very, very tragic situation. Horrible. But anyway, because we were so aggressive in how we approached this, we forced it to go to the Supreme Court, and we argued very aggressively there, argued very aggressively below. They immediately wanted to go into mediation. Immediately. And we said, oh, okay, fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. They were like at 3 million, 4 million, some god-awful figure. I mean, it was really high, which we could never think was reasonable. Well, I'm here to tell you, it settled. I can't tell you the amount, but it was a pittance. It was a pittance from what originally they were talking about. And the reason why is because we had been the way we were in defending the case, and we were very aggressive about it. It reminds me years and years and years ago, this was not a criminal case, but it's a good example. There's a plaintiff's lawyer, everybody knows, and has sued a number of governmental entities, what have you. And we had a horrible truck accident over in Nevada, and it settled. And the reason why it settled is because all of a sudden he's got from me this pleading that I wanted to certify for the Nevada Supreme Court a particular legal question that had come up in this litigation. And at that point he went, oh my God, I've had enough. We got to settle this case. And it was a very correct thing to do from my standpoint, and it was a very important question to be considered. But once again, I was aggressively defending my client, and it had a very positive impact on the attitude of plaintiff's lawyer and the way he viewed the case. So, in any event, does anybody have any questions? I think I'm right on the button. Yes, ma'am.
Do you ever recover your attorney's fees and costs in any of these lawsuits?
In one I have in all the years. Here's generally the way the courts view it. They want people to use the courts as a forum for adjudicating disputes. So if plaintiff takes a claim, even if we think it's totally frivolous, the court says, well, it's better that they settle it that way than out in the streets. So they very, 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 very rarely ever give defense costs on any claims. And the one that I'm talking about, it was probably a quarter of what the attorney's fees actually were, and it was a unique fact pattern and what have you. But I never view that as a real option for communities that I represent. Yes?
I don't know if you can answer this, but given number 5, I'm just struck with a contradiction. Why would there be, I don't know if you have a theory on it, but why would there be more public and media clamor over a police officer shooting a dog than a police officer being shot by a criminal? There seems to be a disconnect in this recent case.
Well,
I don't know if you're defending that one or not.
No, I'm not. Well, I don't know, but here's one thing I can say. First of all, just to answer that, this is my rank opinion. Remember, people are dog lovers. A lot of people. I mean, I'm a dog lover myself. I mean, so you're touching a real nerve there with a lot of people. But going back to really what I wanted to say, one of the things that's happened, though, in the last 10 to 15 years, has changed a little bit of the delicacy of juries viewing police officers, even here in the state of Utah, is because there have been a number of these videos that have surfaced on television that have made police officers look bad because maybe they are in those particular videos acting bad. And there's a lot of media attention given, and a lot of it I think is probably not fair to law enforcement. And so as a result, I think it tends to sort of filter through all of us because, you know, we get a lot of our information from the public media and it affects the way we view things. And I think that's too bad. Quite frankly, I hope there comes a time, and there are some agencies in the state right now that use these, and I hope it becomes very, very common. Cameras would be a great thing because ultimately they will show and vindicate officers. I really have no doubt in my mind, and leave a lot of things that otherwise are ambiguous and prone to being manipulated in some fashion. We'll see what the deal is. You know, just let me finish. Scott versus Harris, which was a Supreme Court decision, where there was a video of this particular chase, and Justice Scalia wrote the opinion, and he basically said, I don't know what the circuit court was thinking as they described this guy, because they described him as if he was like doing a driver's test. When the video showed he was going probably 80, 90, 100 miles an hour, he was weaving in and out of traffic, he was endangering all kinds of people, and so when they finally just pushed him off the road, tragic ending for him, but as far as the Supreme Court was concerned, it was a responsible, appropriate thing to do from law enforcement to protect the public from the danger that he was posing. And that's what I'm talking about. I think cameras eventually will show that most times, not all times, I understand that, but most times, I think law enforcement acts reasonably and responsibly. Okay. Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate it.